Good morning, Turtle Club. Hope everybody's good for this week. I am doing great. It is time once again for some Pocket Monster Mondays. I am Mag Synchro with CTG Studios on our Convertible Turtle Gaming channel. And we're still working our way to 50. I had a busy week. We were hoping to find um, the Game Boy, but unfortunately there's a few other things that kind of took precedence, and the Game Boy, it just wasn't located. Good news is, this week's going to be a little bit better for the days that I have away from work, and hopefully we'll find it. The big thing is it really needs to be found. Primarily because without the Game Boy, you really can't get all the Pokemon off this game to the other game. It just doesn't work without, the right kind of hardware. So, yeah. Hopefully we'll find it, though. But we are still grinding away on Absol. It is an Absol-utely situation there. They were trying to get our Pokemon team to level 50, and that's the goal, because we've had some pretty tough fights. We've had some rough fights. We've had quite a number of situations where I don't know what's a thinner margin in the skin of our teeth, but we've gone all the way down to it for some of these fights. And so ideally, we're going to take Absol, and we're going to take Slack Off, which will become or Vigoroth, which will become Slack Off, and all of our other guys, and we're going to go to the Elite Four and have a very whopping good time. And be on mostly equal footing. We'll have the type advantage, but type advantage on some of these Pokemon equate for very, very little when you really kind of boil it down. But so far we've been getting about a level every 10 minutes or so, maybe every 15 minutes. Hopefully we'll be able to continue that trend. That's the goal. And I really, really, really hope that we're going to be able to acquire the Game Boy this week, so we can actually start doing this while I'm doing other things. TM. And because the truth of it is being able to set aside time to do this during the week when I should be doing other things, and not be able to just pick it up and do something and then set it back down on a portable device is something else. So I kind of really wish that most of these games were compatible on the Switch. It'd be amazing if someone were to make, just to make like a USB-C Game Boy dock even for the Switch. That would be great. I would love that. I would love if there was a USB-C dock that I could connect to the bottom of my Switch, to where it put a game pack on back, and I could play old Game Boy games, and I could play old Game Boy Advance games, and maybe have a DS slot also for it to do that. I don't believe Nintendo is going to ever do that. I want to clarify that. That is a financially bad choice for Nintendo. And the reason I say that is because Nintendo makes a lot of money when they do things like the Diamond and Pearl remake, when they do the Link's Awakening remake. They get a portion of the community who hasn't gotten to play those games, and who doesn't have a way to play those games in the original configuration, to adopt those games. Link's Awakening, great game. The remake, really nicely done. I really appreciate the fact that Sally had donated a copy to the channel so we could play it and experience it and work through it and get to see what it was really all about. I personally am glad it was donated to the channel. It's not one of those games I can really say this is $60 worth of fun. If you've never played it before, I'd say get it on sale. When Nintendo sells it, goes to like $40, I think. 50, something like that. It's very rare when they do that, but yeah, it's good to grab when it's like that, maybe. But the Diamond and Pearl remakes, I really couldn't say if they're going to be worth it or not. I did not actually experience Diamond and Pearl originally, so I played Heart Gold, and I've got it to where I can transfer stuff over, and I've completed it. I've completed the original Gold. I completed the original Crystal. Um, and I'm sure that there's some quality of life stuff in the game that makes it good. Is it good enough to buy it a second time? I really couldn't say. But Nintendo's banking on that to a point, though. Because people that haven't played it before, I would say Diamond and Pearl Remake are probably worth more from a playtime experience and a completion experience than the Link's Awakening game was. I just feel like there's more content there. But yeah. Shuppet number... I stopped counting a long time ago. But yeah, this is probably still the most effective place to train Absol to like level 40. Mainly because it's safe for Absol to get out there to get a good portion of experience. I would dare say that any kind of dark Pokemon could really be leveled from like 30 onwards here. Now, I think there are some other places that have Absol in Emerald. I could be wrong than where we got it from, but considering where we got it from and where it's where it's leveling, it's pretty good. Now, the other kind of drawback to the way we're doing this is normally during the week when I'm kind of AFK doing this also, I put a couple of different eggs in the daycare center so they can get some passive experience points while I run around. And ideally, I should be doing that here too, but it's kind of a sticky wicket involving that, because ideally it would be one of those situations that if we're going to like white out or anything like that, or spend time having to backtrack and all that, I would rather not have to do that on stream, because it adds just a little bit more time to, well, it already adds some time to have to leave this tower when we run out of Poke Power, and then go back to the Pokemon Center, and then after we get to the Pokemon Center to go ahead and pick up the the Pokemon and get them healed, and then come back and then swim, and I mean it's just a mess there. To add on to that, possibly going to the daycare center and checking on people in the daycare center and all that, just a bit much. It really is. And for the most part, Shuppets are not bad to fight here. I would say, ideally, if we had like a water type Pokemon with a dark move, or an ice type. Well, not really ice. I'm trying to think of any water type that had dark in this generation. I don't think there really was. But fighting outside of the tower would be equally good, because you have Vulpixes that show up. And then you can get the stab bonus. It's not the same type of bonus, you don't get that 0.5 damage boost plus the double damage. But you do get you still get the type superiority. Bum 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 bum. But yeah, hoping everybody's having a great time. I'm having a pretty good time of it. I did watch, or well, I tried watching. That's a better way to say it. Digrat and I have subscription to several streaming services. We did cut the traditional cable cord. As an employee of the cable company, that kind of felt bad. Local cable company is not the cable company I work for. We tend to say a lot of polite things about Comcast, right? But I do not work for them. I do work for another one. But usually, you try to support the industry that you're in. But sadly, the industry that I'm in, there's a lot of things that during the beginning of the dark ages of cable kind of went bad for the cable companies. And that is, as more and more channels came out there, more and more broadcasting companies kind of came available, and certain channels became really big standouts when cable companies would go, hey, company X, I would like to carry these 2 channels of yours because they're really, really popular. And we have a lot of our customers that would like to watch them. Those companies would go, sure, you can have these 2 channels, and you can also have these 8 channels along with it for this price. That's kind of the funny thing about cable, right? Is the bundling thing. People are like, I don't need this cable package with all these channels. And the crux of it is you don't need them, but the cable company needs to have you need them. Primarily because they are charged for a package of channels when they're dealing with these companies. And these corporations, they know how competitive the industry is. And so if cable company X doesn't have channel Y, then people will move to a different company. And because of that, we have outrageous television fees. Now, that's fine and good if you aren't in a good area with antenna service. You kind of are left with whatever. But Digrat and I we're living in an area where we can get like 50 channels over antenna, and so we're able to kind of go, well, we're going to miss some of these channels, but we can pick up some stuff on streaming. So I digress though. We cord cut. We're doing pretty good with it. We have several subscriptions, and we've tried some, we've canceled some others, but the one that we've been getting some good usage out of is Disney Plus. I've been getting some good usage out of HBO Max. Of course, I'm an anime guy, so I got Crunchyroll and Funimation at the moment. I'm not sure how that's going to all play out, since Funimation bought Crunchyroll and VRV, or rather Sony bought all of that up. But we'll see. I would love to be able to drop one service and just have, instead of 2 having one. But the HBO Max, they have a lot of different brands, and they're like with Time Warner and HBO, and they have Cartoon Network, and Cartoon Network means that they get some of the actual programming that Cartoon Network has, like Adventure Time, which is a fun little show. And they were able to do a continuation of that kind of prequel, sequel, parallel quel called Distant Lands. And those have been pretty decent. I like that as a way to kind of get more in that world, because the Bubblegum Kingdom is amazing. But the latest one that they did was We Bear Baby Bears, or We Baby Bear Bears, or basically it's We Bear Bears, but they took the concept of the prequel-ish kind of story that they were doing in We Bear Bears, and they made it its own show. And unfortunately, it just really kind of misses the mark. Digrat and I watched the first episode together. We both enjoyed We Bear Bears. It was a nice, lighthearted kind of show. It definitely shows how persistence can carry you through a number of things, and how not everybody gets it right the first time. Unfortunately, that's kind of the way the Baby Bears show really is. It's not getting it right. They took... It's, without sounding really negative toward what I'm about to say, it's just the best way I can describe it to some people, is it's like the Teen Titans Go of We Bear Bears. Now, if I wanted to turn my brain off and just enjoy some good DC related kind of comedy, I'll watch Teen Titans Go. It's not that horrible a show. If you're looking for something that's going to help you continue the mythos of the Teen Titans, it's bad. But if you're looking for something that's just good old-fashioned, turn your brain off and amuse yourself for a little bit, it's not that bad. It really isn't. Unfortunately, We Bare Bears turned into Baby Bears for its own show. They kind of put the same formula in, and while that in and of itself wouldn't be bad, don't get me wrong, that wouldn't be bad at all. The issue is that We Bare Bears already has episodes that have the baby bears in it, and they're really well done, and they have really good storylines, and they give you some backstory, and they give you all this amazing stuff. And unfortunately, when you have that, and the art style is very similar at times, it's been softened, it's been I don't want to say chibified like the Teen Titans Go franchise did, but it's very similar to where it's more cartoony, if that makes any sense. And because they did that, it really just feels like a pandering kind of show. And it's unfortunate, it really is, because it really kind of watered down the programming. We gave it a couple of shots. We watched the first episode. We watched a little bit of the second episode. Thought, well, maybe they're just trying to get their legs, and they really weren't. I don't feel like the audience who the algorithm aimed it at for me is the audience who really greenlit that project, which is unfortunate. Love the speed on Absol. I love the fact I can use one bite on every Shuppet, and I have to use a lot more on those poor tentacles. But we tried that. We did watch, as I mentioned a couple streams ago, we watched Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. For the more mature audience content out there, guys, if you are some of our more mature viewers, Hulu had a new show come out, a spin-off of Letterkenny called Shoresy. That was more interesting than I thought it was going to be, actually. I, at the behest of a few people, friends of mine, well, more like acquaintances at this point, in Australia, I started watching Bridgerton. That's a lot different than I thought it was going to be as well. So I've been watching quite a number of things. But the real cool thing that happened was on Saturday. I know some of you may be wanting to know how this went. I mentioned date night with Digrat, and that we were going to play a game called Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven's really cool. I want to preface all of this with the fact that, my goodness, Gloomhaven did not disappoint in the cool factor area. It did not disappoint in the, is it really worth the expense that I paid for it, in my opinion. Digrat still might be a little bit on the fence. But to describe, Gloomhaven basically plays like a tabletop RPG, like Dungeons and Dragons a little bit, and it plays like a video game MMO in a sense. You have characters, you have skills, you have abilities, you have some rules that kind of determine how all that plays out. And you have, for those that are like myself that play MMOs and do the dungeons and stuff, it's played out basically like a dungeon. You have set spawn points, you have places where the enemies are guaranteed to be to begin with, and you have a very straightforward-ish manipulation of the AI that you can do a little bit. That all said, there is some RNG-related stuff. There is a boon and bonus kind of deck that when abilities happen, you draw a random card out of the deck, and flipping up the top card after you shuffle it is pretty well random, and it determines how things go off. Digrat and I played for about an hour and a half. It did take a little bit to set up because you got to get all the pieces in the right spot. There's some punch cards and stuff that you got to get going. But after we kind of went over the rules a couple times and realized that we'd done a couple things wrong and rewound it and redid it, we realized that the game was beautifully done. The rules were fairly easy to get. There was some strategy involved, and there was a moment early on in the game where Digrat, she's usually plan A is to go with pure offense, and plan B is to rely on plan A. And I'm more of a plan A is to let Digrat run like a bull in a china shop and support her, and then plan B is to be very slow, methodical, and try to work myself out. And there was a moment where plan A was going really well, and there was a moment where it looked like Digrat could have taken on everything in the room that we were fighting. And her character that she was playing was a demolitionist, a little bit short thing with explosives. Anyone who knows Digrat or has seen any of her streams on our more mature audience channel, or has caught some of the stuff where she was live on this channel a couple times, knows that's very much Digrat's MO. She will absolutely go in there with the explosives, and she will use them every single place that she can. In the fight, she wound up failing one of the, and it's fail as an F-E-L-L, as in to knock over and to eliminate. She eliminated one of the enemies. She got really close to eliminating another enemy, and got to a point where she even blew up a wall. And that was kind of cool. And it wasn't because of anything other than the fact that she just needed to blow up a wall so she could do something. So at one point, I went ahead and used an ability that increased her damage at the cost of just a health point. Now, it sounds like a low cost. Gloomhaven, when you're first starting out, your characters have very little health. Numerically, I had 6, she had 8. So we're talking about like an 1/8 of her total hit points. But she was fine at that point. She was like at 7 or 6. And then she was at 5. And then she went to 4 when I used the ability on her. And that seemed like not to be as good as we thought it was. And then Digrat, that same round, was eliminated. Now, kind of my fault, but kind of not. I gave her the option to just ignore it and not do the extra damage. But alas, things didn't go that way. And then I proceeded to, over many, many turns of cat and mouse, try to fight my way out of it. And at one point, it looked like I had it. All I needed was for luck to go my way, and there was like a 1 out of 10 chance that it wouldn't go my way. Maybe more like a 1 out of 5. I mean, the odds were really good, and unfortunately the odds were really good for the enemy, and we wound up losing after playing the game for an hour and a half. Now, it's a cooperative game. It's not a competitive game, so everybody either wins or everybody either loses. Now, when you lose, your players are just exhausted. They're not eliminated. It's kind of like Pokemon. You white out. You don't get eliminated. And you wind up getting to reset and restart from the last checkpoint in the game. After we had done that for, the better part of 2.5 hours, all things considered and combined, we decided to go watch some TV for a bit. Hey, Shadow. Welcome, sir. But it was a rather fun game. I definitely recommend Gloomhaven for those people that like that kind of encounter, or that kind of board game. But yeah, it definitely has lots of pieces, lots of interesting, intricate kind of strategies. And there's a really nice, well-built storyline from what I can tell, from what I've been able to read so far. Absolutely grinding on everything. Hello there, Gen 3 gameplay. Yes, totally not shiny Charmander. We are playing Gen 3. We actually are doing a contest at the end of this playthrough It's mostly blind because I've never done Emerald start to finish. I played Emerald originally up to like Gym 3 or 4, and then unfortunately my copy was absconded with, and I've reacquired a copy. I'm playing on the GameCube using a really weird third-party controller on the GameCube player. But yeah, at the end of this playthrough, we're actually going to be trading through all the generations to get this team over to Pokemon Home. And then we're going to do a drawing of all the people that have been on the channel and who are reachable through us. And those people, the top 7 winners, will be given a Pokemon from the Hall of Fame team. You know, it's definitely not the easiest generation to play, especially with the typing that you get for your first gym. But yeah, it's actually, what's funny about it is this game had a lot of quality life improvements over Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Where are we at for the Pokepower on this? We still got some time. At the moment, we're just grinding on Absol. We're trying to get our team up to 50. We've taken a team that's been in the 30s, and we've beaten the first 4 gems with it. And it's been rather not the easiest thing. There's been a couple of fights where we've had some really close calls, and we're just basically grinding up like you do in a Pokemon game that's an earlier generation to kind of make the Elite Four a little less elite. If we're on equal footing and we have a type advantage and stab bonus, we're pretty much going to go through and sweep most of the actual gym leaders. That's for the Elite Four. In Shining Pearl, level 61 to 64, that's quite a bit of grinding, to say the very least. And Swampert's just a beast. In our team here, you can see we have our Swampert here. He's 39 currently. We got the Shroomish up to 47. We're trying to get it to 40. Actually, I think it's got to go higher than 49 even. Let's see here. Let's go back to our Pokédex real quick. And Ruby Sapphire Dex. Where are you at, Shroomish? I had it in my memories, and then I slept, and then it just poofed. We're looking for Breloom and Shroomish. There they are. And so Shroomish gets Spore at 54. So we are leveling this thing all the way to 54 with EXP Plus. Or EXP share, rather. And it's a bit slow going. We're also leveling Absol to 50. We have an Altaria, so we're kind of in a good spot for Dragon type. I like Altaria because Altaria gets a lot of the HM moves, and so it's a better utility Pokemon. But Salamence is just a beast, but I don't really want to level a Shelgon or a Bagon all the way up to that. Oh, welcome to the Turtle Club. Welcome to the Turtle Club. Totally not shiny Charmander. Appreciate you joining. Boom. Let's go ahead and get that number there because this channel we used to actually use this for went away. 2109. Good. But yeah, welcome to our channel. Family-friendly, kind of chill content. Pokemon Mondays right now. Pocket Monster Mondays as we call it. Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday we're currently playing Skyward Sword Remastered. We're doing that to 100% clear, and we are currently completed the Song of the Hero. We're about to go back to the Leviathan to get that finished up. Really excited about that on Wednesday. We play all manner of games on here. Oh no. Controller input lag a little. Nightshaded or spited? Oh, spited. We're not too upset with spite. But yeah, I was just saying on the stream here that a little bit earlier that I have actually never played through Diamond and Pearl. I do have a copy of Diamond that I picked up through a used retailer, and it's actually got a save on it that's able to let us to move the Pokemon from Gen 3 all the way up to current Gen. And so we're largely going to use that to kind of ferry these guys over here all the way up there. And then we're going to draw for 7 names, and we're going to give out 7 Pokemon. So that's kind of why we're wanting to make sure that our team's pretty good, going in with Pokemon Home especially, so we can give those out. It does require that people have Pokemon Home, unfortunately, especially with Nintendo shutting down the online service for the DSs. Oh, okay. So there's a level 66 Garchomp. That's pretty brutal. That's pretty rough. I do have to say that every generation they seem to like make the Elite Four just a little stronger. Which is pretty interesting considering how casual the game really is for the single player content. But yeah, a 64 Swamp, yeah, that'll absolutely get you there. Do we want Slash? For this particular build, Slash has an amazing high crit ratio, so we'll replace Taunt with Slash. We could be fun and use Taunt and do like a Taunt into Slack Off kind of thing, but I just really don't think we want to be building competitive builds with these Pokemon, especially with how easy. Oh my goodness, the ease that you can basically build a Pokemon for competitive now with Sword Shield is just insane. It really, really is. And since we have Slash now and not Quick Attack, we can just chew through these guys on the way back to the Pokemon Center. Providing they provide us a little bit more experience than, like, nothing. Like, level 25 minimum at this point. Oh, that's gross. Like, just the fact it's got... Okay, so let's forget about Poison Jab for a second, right? Poison Jab is rude. But, like, Earthquake, Swords Dance, and Dragon Claw, just by that, is pretty, pretty techy for a NPC Pokemon. Now, whether or not it does anything other than stands there and Swords Dances the whole entire time is anybody's guess. Because Pokemon AI, and I mean no offense to our younger viewers, but usually when you fight against Pokemon Trainer AI, it's largely, and I do mean largely, like playing against a 4-year-old that's holding the controller and doesn't know how to read. It just picks a move at random. And there are some rule sets that kind of adjust that a little bit, but if you know the AI on Pokemon at all, you can kind of move it up and move it out. Yeah, Ice Punch, Ice Beam. But really, I don't know. Like, Swampert's a physical attacker, so I think Ice Punch is physical now, isn't it? But Ice Beam is still special, so I don't think you'd want to put Beam on it, but you probably would want to do Punch. But it almost feels like you would want to grab a Sneasel or something instead in Gen 8. Like, I'm just thinking, right? If I'm going to take something that's going to be better against something like that, I would kind of want something a little more just powerful. And Sneasel will be fast enough to where the Garchomp won't be a huge problem. But it's a lot better than having to go with like Alakazam. It does since Gen 3? Yeah, yeah. See, Gen 3 was Elemental Punches were special. Because this is where... Gen 3 is still where you have, like, all of your elemental stuff that's, like, fire, ice, lightning. Those kind of things are way more on the special side. And then you have, like, ground and rock and fighting and all that's all physical. And it's not bad. It wasn't a bad system. And you can tell that they were still trying to figure out what they're going to do with special. Because, you know, ever since Gen 1 had special, and Mewtwo was like the king of all things special, they said, oh, we need to fix this. So that was back when special was just one stat, though. So, good for them on that, you know? Of course, you know, that's also back when the IVs on shiny Pokemon were horrible. For like Gen 2. That was, I kind of wish Gen 2 Pokemon were compatible with Gen 3. It really made me sad that I couldn't take my Gen 2 and Gen 1 teams over. I mean, granted, there's the Gen 1 that you can get on Game Boy. And you can do some stuff there. Oh my gosh. Really? Okay. Okay, so, trying to remember, Gen 4, was that Glaceon? Or was that a little later? Or was Glaceon, I think Glaceon... No, Espeon and Umbreon were this gen. So I think Glaceon was Gen 4, right? Because Glaceon might be able to do it. Was Lapras in Gen 4? Because I would probably go with a tankier Pokemon even at that point. Garchomp's just brutal in general, though. That's almost as bad as Fissure Machamp. Which is terrifying, the fact that you can actually find Fissure Machamps in currently Gen 8 due to the Pokemon 1. Since Fissure is a valid move and Machamp could learn Fissure in Gen 1, you can get a Machamp over into Gen 8 with Fissure. That's the bad news. The good news is that the Pokemon power move that they all get, right? None of those actual Machamps that have Fissure can have the guaranteed one-hit kill. So that's a plus. But it's still terrifying to think, oh my gosh, here comes this Machamp with Fissure. Oh, okay. So yeah, I've not played all the way through Diamond Pearl. I just have a game that's already got a safe spot for it for me. So no Eevee then. All right. And I know Lapras is Gen 1, but in order to use Lapras though, like, was Lapras readily available in Diamond Pearl is better what I'm asking, I guess. Because technically Shining Diamond and Brilliant Pearl, or Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, yeah. I believe you can trade through Pokemon Home, can you not? So I mean, technically, as long as you have the right dex level, you should be able to get any Pokemon. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I really want to play through it. I think I would rather do Brilliant or Shining, to be honest. Mainly because it's streamable, and unfortunately, without modifying my actual hardware, which I'm very against, because I like playing on the original hardware as much as possible. Um, I think I would enjoy playing that so I could stream it. But it just really depends on how the channel's going because there's so much stuff out there. And I only have like 4 or 5 days a week to stream. And right now, that 100% playthrough on Zelda, we probably have like another 10 to 15 episodes on it at least. So it's probably going to be until like August before I'm done with that. And on this one, since we're only streaming about an hour every Monday, and we lost our Game Boy. So we can't do any grinding in between streams, so we're kind of having to do grinds during stream, which is unfortunate, but it's cool because I get to do some talking to people. Oh my gosh. Are there swarms in Gen 4, though? Or something similar? Because I know one of the gens did something that basically increases your odds of getting a shiny because of the mechanics. But it's been so long since I've looked at Gen 4 also. And of course, if you really want to get some shiny Pokemon in this gen, Gen 8, your best way to go about it is Pokemon Let's Go Eevee, Let's Go Pikachu. Those games are ridiculously easy to get shinies in because of the way it works. Like I've got a Fire Red game that's saved right before Mewtwo, and that way I can basically keep resetting to get my shiny chance every time. But in like Fire Red Leaf Green, all you have to do is keep going in and out of the cave and wait for his actual avatar to be shiny, which is like okay. But when I green Mewtwo, I know how to go get it. But unfortunately, that means playing all the way through. Swarm's Gen 6? Okay. Gen 6? See, yeah, that's right. Because it was XY where they added that. And then you have the calls for help thing in Sun and Moon. And oh boy, Sun and Moon was a slog. I really, really disliked Sun and Moon. I didn't play Ultra. I sort of stopped giving Game Freak and Creatures Inc. my money at that point for a bit because the hand-holding in Sun and Moon was so unreal. Like, the tutorialness of it was just bad. Yeah, Swarms are a pretty weird addition. You know, in Gold, Silver, and in Crystal, you had the radio to tell you if there's like a higher chance to get certain Pokemon, and that was kind of fun-ish. But the Swarm multiplayer wave after wave of Pokemon thing was just a little odd. I don't disagree with that at all. And it's clear that it was just their way of thinking, how can we get shiny Pokemon in the hands of all these people out there that enjoy shiny Pokemon? And, you know, as a person who grew up in rural-ish America, in small-town Oklahoma, originally, I had only seen one shiny Pokemon the whole entire time during my playing of Gen 2, and that was Gyarados. There was maybe like 7 of us in the whole entire town that played Pokemon, and it was just, the odds just weren't there. I mean, hatching many eggs, trading stuff, doing all sorts of manner of complete and utter internet craziness to try to see what we could do to raise our odds for a shiny Pokemon. And it was just 7 red Gyarados all around. Meanwhile, Gen 3, I got a Claydol that was shiny, which was hilarious because in Gen 5, I also got a shiny Claydol. So it was like, okay, cool, I guess I just get shiny Claydols now. You know, I don't know. There's a lot of drawbacks in Gen 3 when you compare it to other generations, especially. There are some niceties that have been added to the game since Gen 3 started. I do think that there's a lot of really cool things in Gen 3. I dislike I dislike the hyena line. 20 days in, and you can finally shiny Piplup. Oh, Shadow, amazing, man. That is a grind. That's a grind and a half. I personally don't know if I don't know if I take the time for that. I thought about it for the starters in Sword Shield, but I understand those are shiny locked, so they're not possible to get shinies, which is unfortunate. I really do like all of the starters in that particular generation. Imagine if I find a shiny Shuppet during this grind. If I find a shiny Shuppet during this grind, I'm catching it. I don't care. I don't care if it's all that good for what we're trying to do in this playthrough. It's going to happen. What I would really love is to be leveling a water type that has a dark move and be doing that over in the outside of this tower and find a shiny Vulpix. But what's going to be funny, right, is if I find a shiny Dusclops in the middle of all this. Shuppet's great. Dusclops is great too. Or Duskull, rather. But what would be really disheartening is if I actually find a shiny Claydol. Not during this grind, but later, when I'm going through the caves and stuff. Infernape's good, from what I've played with on it, right? I don't know, Empoleon's pretty good, but generally, what's really weird, right? And it's been a hallmark of my normal playthrough for a very long time. But I normally go with grass starters. And I know. Grass starters are just really bad in most generations. And you know, Turtwig's amazing. Grovyle's amazing. Bulbasaur is like the OG status condition champ, as far as I'm concerned. Chikorita, not so amazing. My original Crystal playthrough, I did Chikorita because that was my introduction into Gen 2 was Crystal, and I chose Chikorita, and oh dear goodness, I was like, this is not Bulbasaur. Like 3 or 4 gyms in, I was like, this is not Bulbasaur. Oh my gosh. Game Freak, what have you done to the grass starter? Oh my gosh. The stats are really not that great. The move pool for it is not really all that good. It's just, there's no reason for that. There really isn't. But I played through. I powered through. I got a level 50-something Meganium on my Crystal save. That's on my Pokemon Stadium save at this moment. And it was just, yeah. But I soldiered on. Oh yeah, I don't disagree. There's a lot to be said for studying the first few gems and making life really, really, really easy on you by picking the starter that's just going to steamroll those. And then just basically, because you get stab with it, because you get a really good type advantage with it, because you wind up having that as an advantage, you can basically just over-level the snot out of it. And in most Pokemon generations, just proceed to skip through the forest with this really abominable mega evolved Pokemon. And in the early generations, your starter Pokemon would tend not to disobey you as much. And so you really could just go through and, yeah, exactly that kind of stuff. We kind of did that a bit with Swampert in this playthrough. We just went through and just kind of knocked things around. It was like, yeah, we're good. We have no need to worry about anything. And we weren't really doing the pile everything behind Swampert. For a while, we were doing the pile everything behind Alakazam on this. Because we got an Abra very early on. And we played just the Snot with that Abra. And then we got to a Kadabra, and then we did a real quick change by trading it with one of my other Generation 3 games, and then trading it back to get the Alakazam. And it just, Alakazam is great, mostly. Until you find things like Absols and other dark, nasty Pokemon in this game. And that's, that's kind of rough. It's kind of rough. Okay, that's cool. Absol's a great Pokemon in this game. When you look at your options for dark Pokemon, it's a little bit on the spare side for what you can get natively in Emerald before you get to the Elite Four, unfortunately. So it's like, okay, that's not a huge problem. But it was... Fighting Pokemon are a little more rough, too. Like, our options for fighting Pokemon, we had a couple. But we went with Breloom, because having a Spore on a fighting type that's got really decent speed is just a really good play in this game, I think. I think that's going to let us basically go off round one, Spore, and then just punch the snot out of whatever we're fighting. Even with the slightly lower attack power, I still think we can do better with it. And we have some fairly tanky Pokemon, I'm not going to lie. We have, on this playthrough right now, we have a Gardevoir as our Water Ice type, we have a Swampert, we have a Slackoth. We're a little water heavy. I won't deny that, but partially it's because we're wanting to have enough Pokemon with Ice Beam to where we get to Lance, we're just going to giggle and point. And that's kind of ideally what the strategy is going to be. Well, Turtle Club, we are still going strong. Here we are in just minute 50 for the day's stream. We've got about 10 more minutes, so we might have like maybe 1 or 2 more laps of this tunnel. I'm really hoping at the rate we're going, since we're getting about a minute, we might be able to get this up to 40. So that takes us from like 31, right, to almost 40 this stream. So next stream I'm hoping we can get us up to 50, and then we can switch tactics to a different Pokemon to grind on. At the rate we're also EXP sharing, Breloom might be almost to where we want it to be. But yeah, I'm thinking that we're going to probably take... Kingdra with Double Team and Rest. So, in this particular gen, what we're looking at for that is we've got a Manectric, and we're going to probably go with a Swampert Rain Dance switch into Thunder. So, it's risky, but we might not even Rain Dance into Thunder. We may just completely just Thunderbolt on it, because Manectric is just so heavy hitting with that. But unfortunately, the dragonness of it and all that, but we're trying to make sure that we have a pretty good type spread. Now, normally in the past, when I've actually played Gen 3 on my own with Ruby and Sapphire, I just took an Alakazam and a starter Pokemon and an Absol and a Hariyama and a Slackoth and a Salamence, and basically did all the elemental punches on Alakazam and used it to sweep anything that was elemental weak and then go from there. But that takes so much grinding at the game corner to get to all those right elemental moves and stuff, and it's just... And unfortunately, we kind of got into a bit of a bind here from a streaming standpoint, right? We are a family-friendly channel. We are not marked as a children's channel because we do encourage people of all ages and walks of life to come in here and enjoy the stream. But because we try to keep that family-friendly status and we try to keep our advertising status, even though we don't run ads, unless we have some sort of event where we let the Turtle Club vote on whether or not we do ads or not. Having a gambling scenario in the game is actually heavily frowned upon. And it's just one of those weird kind of quote-unquote decency things, and we just try to avoid it. So anything that was game corner related we try to do sort of off camera, and then we decided that it wasn't really all that fun to do in general, and so we started looking at things that could go for getting things a different way. So there are some moves that are really good in the game, but yeah. Kingdra, Double Team, and Rest. I am concerned a little bit after the Double Team we might have some misses, but I do think that we should be okay. I want to say it was during... Let's see here. Who was it? Yeah, it was during Juan. We kind of went that route, but the problem we ran into is it did kind of get us a bit, but we actually fought. I'm glad you got the joke. We like to throw like song titles that have been warped, and we like to put puns in titles as well. Shroomish is level 48 now. It's getting so close. But we actually fought Juan so long with him, with our team being as a little under-leveled as they are. I want to say that Juan was to the point to where he was almost a struggle range, which is hilarious on his Kingdra. But yeah, that... this badge right here, we earned this badge. We earned the snot out of that badge. But yeah, we've had some pretty good strats for various Pokemon gym leaders and stuff. It's just been we haven't focused on grinding as much as we should have. And I want to say the fire gym might have been the roughest one we went into. I think we whited out once or twice on it. And though it seems it seems controversial, but no, we're going for that level 54. We're grabbing Spore. We're gonna have a Breloom with Spore, and it's gonna go up to Sydney. It's gonna wave at Sydney, and it's gonna knuckle sandwich Sydney all the way to Bye Bye Town. That's our goal with Breloom. It's gonna go, hello, Dark Pokemon, Spore, punch, 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 punch. Makes me think of my original Breloom that I actually named Captain Falcon because of reasons. We're doing pretty good on Absol. It's actually kind of nice that we're still able to grind pretty reasonably. We're gonna get one more level on this Absol, it looks like. I was hoping we get 2 out of it. Maybe 3, but... Blaziken is basically Naruto. I believe it. Blaziken's amazing. Like, so my wife Digrat and I, we originally played Gen 3 on Ruby and Sapphire together. And I played on one side, she played on the other side of it. She did Ruby, I did Sapphire. I chose Grovyle. She chose Blaziken. And I thought, okay, that's fine. Eventually, you know, Blaziken's supposed to be like a fighting fire type. And that's great. I thought, well, maybe all the other types will offset each of the things. I really want there to be like a dual typing starter trio to where when you get to the final evolutions, they're neutral. Like, I want like a fire type and a fighting type, right? And then I want the water type to be like water dark. And then I want the grass type to be like grass psychic. And I think that would be amazing. I think that would be a nice way to do the trio. To where for the first like 2 evolutions against your rival who always chooses the best thing for you to fight against, you're like just steamrolling your rival, right? It's like, ha, you picked the wrong type Pokemon. Nah, not at all. Not at all. Infernape is just a better Pokemon, in my opinion. The Alolan Tiger is actually pretty fun too, for typing and whatnot. But I would love to see there be like that dual typings going back and forth. Well, it looks like this is going to be the last Pokemon down, guys. We went through quite a number of levels today. We were able to do that grind, Turtle Club. We got Absol up. We got Shroomish up by a couple of levels. And Shroomish is not an easy or fast level to go with. At all. Here's the hope in Turtle Club, though, that we do manage to get Blaziken and Infernape go, oh, that'd be a fun kind of animation. Like, I think Infernape and I'm trying to remember. I work nights and I'm about to go to sleep, and that's not here nor there. But I get a little foggy brain when we start to get closer and closer to bedtime. So the Tiger Pokemon from Sun and Moon, I would like to see like a chaos match between Infernape, Blaziken, and Darklitten, whatever it's called, right? Yay! We don't want to rest our Pokemon. We've already done that. We're going to save our game. I think that would be kind of cool for like a chaos fight type thing. I would love to see like a 2v2 fight or a 1v1v1v1 fight where you take basically all 4 of the best of each elemental Pokemon and have them go at it and see what happens. But yeah, Turtle Club, it's been a good day. I gotta say, it's been real fun talking with you. Totally not a shiny Charmander. Or totally not shiny Charmander. Shadow, as always, thank you for leading the Lurk Squad. Our Lurker Supreme there. 104. I only have 32 on Shiny Pearl. We've been playing at least an hour every stream. And we've been also playing off to the side to do some grinding, some bicycle walking, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's quite the progress. We expect that we'll probably be somewhere in like 160-hour range by the time it's all done, to make sure that these Pokemon are adequately leveled and all. But Turtle Club, I'm gonna have myself a good night. You out there have yourself a good week. Monday, start of the week, right? Have yourself a good breakfast, a good lunch, good dinner. Whatever you're about to do, Turtle Club, stay safe, wash your hands, and have a good one. Thanks for watching and take care, guys.